السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مساكم الله بالخير جميعا، وأسعد الله أوقاتكم بالمسرات، وأهلا ومرحبا في اللقاء الختامي من فعاليات الأسبوع الوطني للجودة رقم 14، والذي ينظمه المجلس السعودي للجودة. سعدنا بلقائكم ابتداء من الأحد الماضي إلى هذه الليلة. We're going to have today our guest speaker, Dr. Adil. Dr. Adil, if you allow me just to go ahead a little bit, we have some guidelines in Arabic, so I'll get back to you very soon. الأخوة والأخوات الكرام، نرحب بكم في هذا اللقاء، ونتمنى أن لكم لقاء ممتع ومفيد وقيم بإذن الله تعالى في اللقاء الختامي، والذي يصادف اليوم العالمي للجودة، وهو يعتبر النشاط الرئيسي من أنشطة المجلس السعودي للجودة خلال هذا الأسبوع. طبعا زي ما أنتم عارفين عندنا ترجمة فورية حتكون موجودة بإذن الله تعالى، يقودها المهندس نبال نعيم زميلنا وفي المجلس السعودي للجودة. وما عليكم إلا بس الضغط على الإشارة تحت التي شرحت الترجمة وتحويل اللغة والاستمتاع بالترجمة المهنية التي يقودها المهندس نبال. We're going to talk now in English. It's my pleasure in personal level and in all our members and executive committee in Saudi Quality Council to have you, Dr. Adil, today in very important session. You're going to talk about the Manifesto for the executive to sustainable operational excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, would like just to welcome Dr. Adil Dalal. He is the President and CEO for Pinnacle Process Solution Company. Dr. Adil has a variety of experience. I like a lot of things in his CV. What I actually been attracted to is his practical experience and hands-on in different projects and initiatives for the whole 15 plus years of his experience. Dr. Adil has led 350 plus strategic cross-functional transformation programs, and he trained 9,500 plus individuals globally on organizational excellence, enterprise-wide business redesign, stress management, culture transformation, and digital technology transformation. Dr. Adil, he is a thought leader, innovator, expert, international trainer, and executive coach, global keynote speaker, and author of 4 books. And we would like later on you just talk about your books and the titles and some, about it.
Sure.
Dr. Adil, he is the recipient of several internal awards, and we consider Dr. Adil is not a guest for today. He is our partner in Saudi Quality Council, and I'd like just to leave the floor for you, Dr. Adil, to share your presentation, and go ahead, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is truly an honor to be with you all. Dr. Ayad, Mr. Waleed and all, we go back several years. So it is truly an honor to be with you all again. So I'm going to start off with the very important topic on sustainable operational excellence. So I'm going to start off with my background and passion, leadership challenge and responsibilities, why ESG is critical to our planet, culture, and business, why operational excellence is not an adequate model, the executive manifesto to sustainable operational excellence, and then we'll take Q&A. So wishing everyone a very happy World Quality Day today. It is truly an honor to be speaking to you on such an important day in quality, and we would not be here if it was not for these great gurus of quality. So we stand here today as Quality Council and as quality leaders on the shoulders of these great gurus of quality. And it is especially special for me because I've been, kind of related to a couple of these, gurus myself through the means of awards. So I've been a recipient of Shingo Medal, and I've also been a recipient of the ASQ Philip Crosby Medal and Global Leadership and Quality Award. And that's where I met Dr. Ayad. And, since then we've been great friends. So it's been an honor. And then my book also won the Best Business Book Award. So apart from that, another special thing is about 5 years ago, I was invited to open the conference in Riyadh. And, I had a really amazing time with the crowd there and with all the governor and everyone out there. And since then, I've actually trained over 2,000 people just in Saudi Arabia. So I've taught several classes, and I've really very open to sharing my knowledge and my passion with the people in Saudi Arabia. And truly, it's been a pleasure working with all of you. So again, thank you for inviting me to this very prestigious conference. And I hope I can do justice to your confidence in me. So my background and passion, these are the 4 books which I have: the 12 Pillars of Project Excellence, Legacy Driven Life, Lean Handbook, and Change Your World. So these 2 books are co-authored, and these 2 are completely written by me. I also have some really unique things, which are a lean board game. This is how I teach lean, is through a game. I also have created an iCulture game, which can really make you visualize culture. And it's a very unique game because it's very difficult to understand what truly culture is. I also have a software, which is a mind-body software, which is helping in coaching and stress management. So as you see from these products, my passion is human capital. My core passion is how to increase the human capital across different countries, different cultures, and excellence. I talk about the mindset of excellence, and that is really important to me. And obviously, leadership. So I am working in these 3 core areas, and that has become my passion and my life work. Okay, so as to keep in context with the theme of this conference, let's talk about what is ESG. So we know that E stands for environmental, and that includes climate change, energy efficiency, and everything related to our important environment. Then we have social. Social is very important. Human rights, freedom of association, health and safety. All those are becoming very critical to our entire culture. And last but not the least is the governance. Governance is about business ethics, compliance. Basically, how do you govern? How do you create overarching structure to support the companies who are going to be the leaders of ESG? So let's talk about why is ESG critical to our planet. We have obviously know that there is intensified climate change. Okay, this is in the news, and rightly so. There has been a lot of changes which are happening: the rise in sea levels, urban flooding, biodiversity loss. And again, to keep it completely apolitical, we know there is some change happening. We don't know if the world has gone through the similar changes before, but as our population is rising so rapidly, this is becoming very critical, because as people are moving closer to the ocean, closer to the shorelines, their lives are truly at risk at this point. Also, we have to look at the protecting the planet together. So there is a real important topic which is going on, is that if our temperature, the global temperature, reaches plus 1.5 degrees C, then the planet may reach a point of no return. Okay. Again, That is what the scientists are telling us. So I think as good citizens of this planet, we really need to take care of whatever we can do from our side. It is important for us to do that. Same thing with carbon neutrality. There is a lot of talk of being neutral in carbon. So basically going to 100% renewable energy sources. It may take us some time, but we need to start thinking right now and maybe do a hybrid model instead of completely going renewable. So we need to think through all the challenges we are facing. Okay. So the key question is, why is ESG critical to our planet? Okay. And the answer is really simple. The answer is simple because this is our only home. We do not have a planet B to go to. This is truly our only home we have. So if we don't protect our home, who else will do that? Okay. And we don't have anywhere else to go, So basically, it is our job and it is our responsibility to take care of this together. Why is ESG critical to our culture? So if you look at what is happening around the world, the millennials are waking up and they are becoming very active in social issues. So for example, for environmental side, 24%, the millennials focus on this quite a bit. And then from a social side, 37% are the factors which affect the millennials. Okay, that's a fairly significant number. And then for governance too, they are looking at leadership to really provide the governance. So you can see from these statistics that our young people, our young leaders are waking up and saying, we older generation need to support them and provide the protection the millennials need to be successful on this planet later on after us. So we really need to, it's part of our responsibility and our legacy to do so. Okay. Okay. So why is ESG critical to our businesses? Okay. So there is actually various ESG rating agencies which rate different companies and corporations based on complete analysis. So if you look at the this chart, you can see that from AA and AAA rating, we go from average to the leaders of ESG. On this side of the curve, okay, these are on an average basis, and these are laggards, means they are not even started on the journey. So companies with a CCC rating, what is happening is the millennials are rejecting them. They don't even want to work with companies like that. They don't want to be associated with companies who are not conscious of the environment, of the social structure, as well as from the environment point of view. So this is becoming very important. The other important point here is that the investment industry is also waking up, and there are many mandates to the investments which are going on in the world. So if you look at where we are 2021, approximately there is $45 trillion which have been invested in ESG mandates, okay? And if you extrapolate that out, you have in 2034, we are looking at close to $150 trillion invested in ESG mandates. So we are talking about almost tripling that amount in the next few years. So now you understand why it is very critical for us to focus on those things, okay? So we can see that the importance of ESG, not only from our social structure, but also from the mandate structure. And also you can see that from the data here is that if this is the S&P line, okay, if this is the S&P line, which is the standard for our investment portfolios, you can see that companies who have been focused on ESG are beating that S&P by far. Okay, this is a statistically significant improvement compared to S&P. So you can see that being an ESG conscious company has both social benefits, hiring benefits, as well as economical benefits to being ESG conscious. So let's talk about the next topic, which is operational excellence. Okay, so is developing and deploying operational excellence model adequate to address all business needs and situations? So this is the question we need to all ask ourselves. And what is the most difficult situation we have encountered globally? If you can relate this operational excellence model to what has been happening globally, which is obviously the impact of COVID on global economy, corporations and leaders, and ESG in general. So let's look at if operational excellence alone has allowed us to be successful, okay? So with the COVID effect, you can actually see that basically our international trade as percentage of GDP is totally going downwards. So operational excellence by itself has not helped us so far. You are seeing the impact on a global level. And there is obviously a lot of belt tightening going on, okay? There is everyone, we are not in a recession, but we are getting there with all the economic impact which is happening around the world. Also, the present day leadership challenge. Okay, what is happening is the role of an executive is transitioning from being merely a corporate leader, striving for growth and profitability, to becoming a responsible guardian of our planet. That is a fairly high role to play for a leader. Okay, this is not political leaders. These are corporate leaders. So we are asked to now stand up and be responsible guardians of our planet. And the current level of demand for ESG leadership talent is totally unequaled and relentless. Means we have a huge gap between our current leadership model and what is required for this planet. So let's look at some leadership responsibilities. The primary responsibility of an ESG leader is to develop a best-in-class operational excellence model and integrate it to the business needs across with the ESG policy. The other responsibility is to ensure a consistency of messaging and execution throughout each individual business line or investment strategy. The third point is to deploy, means to spread the operational excellence model to achieve corporate-wide sustainable excellence. So it's not enough to do operational excellence just in one department or with your own team. You have to do it at a corporate-wide level. And last but not the least, apply a framework for becoming responsible guardians of our planet. So you can see that the upcoming leaders have a lot more responsibilities than the leaders of the past. We are expecting a lot more from our corporate leaders now. But as COVID has shown us that there is a pretty major dilemma or a problem on the leadership side, okay? Since OpEx is not helping in this COVID situation, you can see the leaders are blindfolded. They cannot see where they are going when there is so much uncertainty. So when the leader is blind, the followers are following a blind leader at this point. So it is not a very good situation because it is a totally a situation where we have not experienced before. And if the OpEx model was really helping us, we would not be in this situation. So the corporate dilemma is that corporations are suffering. A lot of corporations are losing people and even closing down. So this is a corporate-wide global phenomena where corporations are suffering right now. So also what works today may not work tomorrow. So corporations are totally under pressure. Also with the ESG dilemma, you can see that the leaders, these are the leaders. So these are the AAA, rating from A to AAA. And then these guys are more of the C rating, you can see that though the leaders are still suffering, but they are not suffering as much as the laggards. Okay, they are not suffering as much. They have taken a big hit when they are not focused on ESG. So we can see that COVID has a total impact on everything we do. So has impacted the ESG ratings for both ESG leaders as well as the laggards. So what do we conclude from this about operational excellence? Basically, in face of this current unprecedented global, economic, social, and business challenges, okay, basically what is happening is that OpEx itself is becoming an ever-elusive mirage for several organizations. So it seems that they are reaching to the water, but when they get there, there is no water. It's just a mirage. So that's what is happening right now for the leaders and the corporations. So what we conclude is that the OpEx model is not truly helping us. Okay, this has been around for a long time. So it's time to upgrade. It's time to upgrade this model and go beyond this simple model of operational excellence. So what is that new model? The new model is the sustainable operational excellence, where you can go through various challenges like COVID, etc. So I have named the model as sustainable operational excellence because it incorporates unique aspects of excellence, leadership, and culture, and have a simple formula to achieve it. So as you can see that this is going to be the topic of today. So let's ask this question is, how do we define sustainable operational excellence? So that is an important question to talk about. I'll let the interpreter catch up with this. Okay. So now let's look at the macro system analysis. So if you look at the system on a macro level, you can see that there are many different things which define corporations, including quality, including leadership, including culture, and maybe an X factor. Maybe an X factor. So let's take each of these items and see if this will define, each of these can define sustainable operational excellence for us, or we need something, the X factor. So let's look at each one. So the question is, can sustainable operational excellence be defined by quality, by leadership, by culture, or something else? That is a question we are going to answer right now. So let's take the first one, quality. Can we say that sustainable operational excellence can be defined by the basic definition of quality? That's the query we are making. Okay, so let's look at what quality means. Quality, if somebody says, I'm going to provide you a quality product, you don't know where that quality is. Are they talking about poor quality, or are they talking about excellent or good quality? So basically, you can see that quality is a shifting target. It's always moving around because it is based on the interpretation of the person. And you cannot just use the word quality, you have to mention if is it a good quality or poor quality. It's like defining speed, okay? I'm going at a speed does not make sense. Are you going fast or are you going slow? So you have to define that, and that is really not a good way to define quality. So I don't believe that quality is a good way to define sustainable operational excellence, okay? So basically we conclude that that's not a good way. Now let's take the next level up, leadership. Okay, is sustainable operational excellence, can we define it with leadership? That's the question we need to ask. So before we ask, go to that, let's understand what is the most critical role of a leader. What is the most critical role? So if you have to answer A, B, C, or D, is it to make the organizations profitable, develop a vision for the organization, or inspire followers to realize a common objective, or all of the above? Okay. Now you have to be careful because technically over 15,000 books have been written on leadership, but there is no single universal definition of leadership. Okay. the closest we come is to this, that leadership is about followers, to inspire the followers to realize a common objective. That is the closest definition of leadership, which has come from Nordhaus. Okay, so let's look at how good leaders are able to do that currently. Okay, so how good are they in inspiring followers? So if you look at the research done on this, the leadership scorecard, okay, you can see that when Gallup did this survey, only 33% of the people were truly engaged in corporations. The rest of them, 67%, were either not engaged or actively disengaged. Okay? So basically, if you are the leader, okay, or you are part of the team, and you are pulling results for the corporation, you have 67% of people who are being pulled by 33% of the people. Not a good equation, not a good equation. So you can see that 67% of human capital is being wasted right now. So leaders are failing in the most critical role of leadership, that is to inspire the followers to realize a common objective. Okay. So what can we conclude from this? What can we conclude is that sustainable operational excellence cannot be defined just by pure current leadership model. Okay, it is not enough. Okay, let's look at the last one, which is the culture. Okay, maybe sustainable operational excellence can go by the current definition of culture. Let's ask that question. So one of the best books on culture has been written by Shine, which is called The Fifth Discipline. And it talks about very complicated definition of culture, that it is a pattern of basic assumptions given the group has invented, discovered, or developed. So you can see on and on and on. And he also talks about that 3 levels of culture, the values of us. So fundamental assumptions, stated values, and typical behavior. So it's like an iceberg. These are hidden from you. These are the only ones which you can see outside. So you can see that it seems pretty complicated. Okay, it's not something where everyone can be implementing this. Correct? Let's look at a couple other definitions of culture. Peter Drucker, who's another guru of management, said culture means practice, values, vision, and teamwork, relationships, communication. He takes everything and throws it into the hopper and says everything is part of culture. Okay, so basically we don't know what we are going to get out of that funnel. Okay, let's look at another personality, Richard Branson. He says there is no magic formula to great company culture. He is saying exactly the opposite of Peter Drucker, saying it's just how you treat your staff. So you can see that nobody has agreed to a clear definition of culture. So would the standard culture, the way we define culture today, can standard operational excellence be related to that? No, absolutely not, because not enough yet. So what we learned from this discussion is that sustainable operational excellence cannot be defined by the way we currently define quality, the way we currently define leadership, and the way we currently define culture. Correct? So what does us so the path to sustainable operational excellence seemed like magic. It seems like we are going to float onto the sky of operational excellence. But let's hold off. Let's hold off on the definition. I'm going to come to the definition of sustainable operational excellence. Let's ask ourselves another important and a more intelligent question. Let's ask ourselves an intelligent question, is that how do we achieve sustainable operation? Because that is the bottom line. If we know how to achieve it, then maybe the definition will become very clear to us of what we are talking about. Okay, so my answer to that is very simple. I'm going to use a very simple model of getting to a sustainable operational excellence. So the manifesto, the executive's manifesto, or a guideline to sustainable operational excellence is given by A, B, and C. What does A stand for? Advance a novel mindset, baseline the journey, and customize the culture. Okay, the standard culture is not enough. You need to customize it. So this is your path to sustainable operational excellence. You have to go through this path in order to reach the pinnacle of sustainable operational excellence. Okay. So let's look at the journey to pinnacle of sustainable operational excellence. The first step is advance a novel mindset, means a new mindset. We need a new way of thinking. We cannot use the old way of thinking, okay? Because as Einstein said, you cannot solve the current problems with the current way of thinking. You need a new way of thinking, okay? So I really love this quote by Vince Lombardi. He was one of the great coaches of American football. And he said, the quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence. Okay, so that's one part of the quote. This is also very important, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. So he's saying, no matter are you playing football or you are in the corporation or doing something else, if you are committed to excellence, that will define your trajectory of your life. Either you'll be at the top, or you'll go at the average, or you'll be at the low level. So this is a very important topic. Okay. So as we talked about the definition of quality, let's look at that. Instead of using the word quality, why can't we use the word excellence? That defines quality, that you are going to be at the pinnacle. You now have a target to reach the quality. So this is very important to understand. Also, we have to understand a new way of thinking about leadership. So how do we reach the level of leadership excellence? And that is the reason I spent 3 years of my life to write a 700-page book on the 12 pillars of project excellence. And I was really honored that it ended up winning 4 major awards across the world, because it not only focuses on the people side, it has details about how to create a process and also a strategy. Also, it has many theory, case studies, and assessments. So it is a comprehensive guide to reaching operational excellence. So I talk about leadership is a mindset of excellence, and excellence is a mindset which is built on foundation of precision, perseverance, and passion. That is what is written. So basically, the 12 pillars are designed to provide a practical blueprint to convert the skill of leadership into a permanent mindset of excellence. So to convert that skill you have into a permanent mindset, that takes some important effort in transforming the way we think. Okay, so let's talk about what lead means to you. When we say leadership, obviously their job is to lead. What does lead mean? So, this is where what I talk about is unique, is that I talk about lead means leave everything appreciated on departure. So either you're talking about your job, if you are going to a new job or new position, leave something better than what you found it. Okay. Same thing goes for a planet. We are here as visitors of this planet. Okay. We are not here as owners of this planet. So when we leave this planet, why can't we leave it a little better than what we found it? Okay. So this is directly leading to the ESG model, is how can we make improvements. But this is about also taking personal responsibility and first improving yourself. So building a mindset of leadership and excellence. So what we do is, when you want to do that, you focus on the true north. This is called the true north. when you have a focus of the true north, you know exactly which direction you are going to go. So what I did for my students and for my book, I have created a new level of leadership called Sensei Leadership. And what I talk about, a manager depends on control, a leader depends on trust, but a Sensei leader depends on human potential. Okay, so I teach you how to, instead of hanging on to the tail of the tiger and always being at a risk of eaten alive, how can you comfortably transform your leadership skill so you can ride the tiger comfortably? Okay, so I teach people how to do that, and I've transformed several individuals from being just a manager to a sensei leader in a very short period of time. Okay, so 12 pillars of project excellence basically is primarily a workbook to achieve sustainable operational excellence. So I've already created the formula in this book. This was about 10 years ago, and we are today talking about sustainable operational excellence. So this has been around for a while. Okay, so now we come to definition of sustainable operational excellence. So based on this, what we have talked so far, it leads us to the X factor. So remember, we said that sustainable operations excellence is not quality, is not leadership, nor is it culture. Okay, but there is the X factor. So what is the X factor? That is what we are going to talk about. So sustainable operational excellence is a long-term collective mindset of organization leaders and empowered employees built on the foundation of precision in quality and design, perseverance in delighting the customers, not just satisfying, you have to delight them, and the passion for perfection in thought, word, and action. So you can see that though it is a very lengthy definition, but each and every part of this definition is important to achieve. If you miss even one part of it, if you do not involve the leaders and empower the employees, you cannot reach this stage. If you do not use perseverance and keep at it, you still will not be able to reach the sustainable operational excellence level. So to reach the pinnacle of this, you need to follow this to the T. You cannot miss anything here. Okay, so that is where now we have defined the sustainable operational excellence. We talk about the journey to the pinnacle of sustainable operational excellence. So we've completed step 1. Let's go on to step 2. Okay. So what does this baseline, the journey, mean to you? Okay, let's look at a really funny quote by Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra was a baseball legend, and he says something very unique. He says, you got to be very careful. Okay, if you don't know where you're going, okay, you might not get there. Okay, looks a little weird when he says that, but it has a lot of wisdom hidden in it. What he's saying is, if you really cannot understand or know where you're going, you will not get there, which is obvious. Correct? It is obvious that if you set out on a journey without knowing where you are starting from, okay, can leave you driving in circles. You will be chasing your own tail forever, not knowing, because you don't have a target. You don't know where to go. Okay, so thus, if you want to really baseline your journey, an assessment needs to be made at the start of your journey. You need to know the baseline. It is like you have your GPS. Okay, you are going into Yahoo Maps. What are they asking you? First thing, okay, I want to go from here to, say, if you're in Riyadh, you want to go from Riyadh to Jeddah. It asks you, where are you first? Tell me where you are, and then I can guide you to that next destination. So, okay, so basically, that assessment needs to be made where you are starting from. So you need to have two kinds of assessment. One is a personal assessment of leaders and a collective assessment of teams and departments. Okay, and the assessment needs to consist of the forces that are supporting the journey. Okay, so they are called the driving forces, and those that are resisting the your journey. So in my book, I give you both these assessments. Okay, you have complete assessment for leaders and also of the teams and departments. So you can have a complete baseline with a score of where you are starting from, and also a step-by-step model of how to improve this. So based on this assessment, it automatically coaches you which areas to focus on and how to improve. Okay, so people who have used this have within a short time made 50 to 100% improvement in some of the areas they wanted to be in. So, and this is documented. They have documented these results. Okay, so baselining the journey is very important to do that before you even start off on creating a sustainable operational excellence model for your organization. Okay, so let's come to the final step of customize the culture. When you are customizing the culture, okay, so the culture, what we talked about before, is not enough, because if you understand what Steve Jobs is saying, is that innovation distinguishes between leader and follower. So this word is very critical, is how do you differentiate yourself and your culture from your competitors. So to reach the goal of sustainable operational excellence, being a leader is critical. Thus, leadership, innovation, and sustainable operational excellence all need to go together for a successful journey. Okay. However, it is not important to innovate the journey only, but also the tools you need to get there. So you are not only innovating and creating a disruptive market model to get to the innovation, but every tool you use need to also be disruptive. Digital technologies, Industry 4.0, there are a lot of things which are disrupting things. Okay, we have a tsunami of technologies which have started. One of my expertise is Industry 4.0. I help companies in digital transformation, and you can see that from artificial intelligence to machine learning to drones to 3D printing, nanotechnology. There are so many technologies coming together to really transform this. So the tools you use are also very critical to your final step. Okay, so key thing is successful organizations have one factor in common, a strong culture. Okay, in fact, astute leaders know that the only guaranteed strategy for long-term success is a strong, innovative culture. If you can develop that, there is a direct link, correlation between success and strong culture. Clear? Okay, so let's come to a good conclusion on this topic. We are going to have a few more slides, and then we can take question and answer. So meeting the leadership challenge using the A model. Leaders that are humble and eager to transform automatically align themselves to the definition of sustainable operational excellence and advance the mindset to making this the new vision. So leaders who are willing to transform themselves gain the ability to lead the organization through any kind of change, including through the problems we are facing with COVID and other things. And they will successfully achieve a new reality of sustainable operational excellence. So in my book, I talk about the first pillar is about creating that leadership within yourself. You can't depend on others. Every person is the CEO of their career. Every person. What do they need to transform into a Sensei leader? They need 5 powers. The 5 powers are power of delegation, power of dynamic leadership, power of lean thinking. You need to, we have limited resources, limited time, and limited budget now. How do you use that? How do you develop that lean mindset? Okay. And the 4th one is very unique, is the power of visualization. In fact, my 5th book coming out will be on power of visualization. And I actually, when I came to the to Saudi about a few years ago. I did a workshop on this, and it was an extremely successful workshop with standing room only. People were totally amazed at the technology which we can do. So I've created a step-by-step model how leaders can develop this. And last but not the least is the power of humility. The bigger, the better leaders we are, okay, what happens is our head sometimes tends to expand a little bit more, and that brings us down to the bottom level of leadership. So you want to always be humble. You always want to say, I am ready to learn new things. I am I am a servant leader. I'm not going to just, I will inspire my followers. I will not push my followers. Okay, so that is important. Meeting the leadership challenge using the B, that is baselining the journey. So leaders that create an initial baseline and conduct a quarterly review of the process with help individuals adjust the sail. So whenever there is a storm, the people who are successful are the ones who know where the true north is, and they adjust the sail of their boat to be able to get to that next level. So people who are ready to adjust the sails, who are flexible in their journey, will be the ones who will be successful. And last but not the least, using the C, which is the creating a customized culture. So leaders on the journey to sustainable operation excellence have the ability to accurately visualize the existing culture, understand the impact on the customers, employees, and planet, and develop a practical plan for dynamic culture transformation. Okay, so this can be achieved by seeking out innovative and proven approaches to sustainable operational excellence that can be customized and tailored to fit the culture. That is why I created the game iCulture, the board game. I am very unique where you can actually see what your culture looks like. Okay, there is no other tool in the world which allows you to actually see what your culture looks like. This is the only tool where I can do your current state and your future state culture. Okay, so this a lot of corporations are adopting this now. Okay, so final slide, meeting the leadership challenge. So using the sustainable operational excellence model, an executive can transition from being merely just a corporate leader who is focusing on growth and profitability to becoming a responsible guardian of our planet and to leave a great legacy behind. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn address, and I am open to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a great presentation, Dr. Adil. Actually, it was a lot of valuable information, and I'm sure everybody here enjoyed your input as much as I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Just a reminder here to my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, just to fill up the webinar survey. It will help us to improve our session in the future. Dr. Adil, I have noticed that there is a common experience between yourself and myself, talking about human capital and leadership in addition to the excellence. So what a nice chance to meet you today.
Thank you.
Can you elaborate more about the combination between leadership, human capital, and excellence? How much the human capital, they always talk about the human factor of quality, the human factor of excellence. Can you just touch base this issue, please? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Very good question. It is, so let me explain to you that one of the things I talk about is appreciating asset, okay? If you join a company, okay, you have your building, you have your computers, you have all these things, but they keep depreciating, from the tax point of view, from they get deteriorated, they keep getting bad. Okay, but when you hire a new person, the very first day is the worst day of the person. As you train them, as they become part of your culture, they are only improving from there on. So they are the only appreciating assets of a company. So it is a leadership role. It is important for the leaders to understand that the only thing which will benefit the corporation in the long term is the people. So also a leader needs to understand that their leadership style is very much dependent on the quality of the people. Okay, if they keep the people down and they just constantly are directing the people, they will never grow as a leader themselves. So in order for them to grow as a leader, they need to be able to trust their people, to grow their people, to delegate to them. Okay, so leadership is directly related to how good is your follower. When your follower is really good, then you can transform your own leadership style to a sensei leader. Otherwise, you will not be able to grow. So does that help you?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Dr. Adil, you have talked about the engagement survey, and you have mentioned the Gallup survey for 2017.
Yes.
There is no doubt that the average engagement percentile all over the world globally, it is a little bit low, as you mentioned, 33%. So my question here is how we measure the engagement, and what is the best use of its result, and why it is low?
I think it is basically, you can see that leadership is the problem. It is the leader's role to engage their people. That is the primary role of a leader. What is happening is the leaders are focused more on themselves than on the people. They want to move to it's all short-term thinking. They want to complete a project, and move on to the next role, into the next promotion, and then leave the people behind. But the key role of a leader, a true role of a leader, is they have to, if you look at the program American Idol, they look at, all over the world, the Idol program, which is going on. What do? They take common people and they find the star amongst them. They change their lives. That is the role of a leader, to look within an organization and see, who are my stars? What can they do different? If a leader can do that, the engagement level from the people will be phenomenal. But they don't understand that. It's all about themselves. And that is why Sensei leadership model is going to transform this planet. If we, even 1% of the leaders follow this model in the planet, it will be completely different. Okay, including political leaders, including corporate leaders. So that is what I believe.
Yeah. How often we should have measured the engagement survey? I mean, is it every year or every 2 years, or?
At least once a year. At least once a year you need to. Gallup has a really good way to do that. It's called the Q12 survey. There are other tools used for that. Okay. But it is also, just like there is responsibility for the leaders, the people also are responsible for being great leaders. Their own career is in their hands, so they have to use those 5 powers of great leaders to really transform themselves too. So it has to be a combination, and when they meet in the center, that's when the transformation will happen.
Okay, good. There is a question here from one of the audience, Mr. Fahad Al-Uthman, saying, in regards to culture, have your organization collaborated or reflected on hosted inside culture tools?
On what?
On inside cultural tools. I mean, maybe he's asking about what is the cultural tools that can be used in order just to enhance the culture, customize the culture in our organization.
Correct, and that is what I said, the I culture game I have created. So the 12 pillars are part of your culture. If you are able to follow these 12 pillars, you can transform your culture. And I can show you step by step how you can do that using the 12 pillars.
Yeah, good. So back to your model here, talking about the 3 steps, A, B, and C.
Yes.
How long it takes just to apply it for an organization? And did you, I mean, I'm sure you have practiced this and implemented for some Can you just give us an idea about the implementation part of this?
Very, very good question. So basically, it all depends what your baseline is. Okay, some corporations are more advanced already. So then I use different tools to get them to a different level. If you're starting from scratch, it is still possible to reach there quickly, but it depends on, there are some organizations where I am their coach, even if it's 80,000 people, I go in and train each and every person in the organization, okay? If you have only a few people who are trained, then the language is different. The mindset is different. People are not on the same frequency. So the key thing is you want to make sure people in your organization at least speak the same language and believe in the same things. If they don't believe in the same thing, you can never implement this model. So it does take a little time, but the payback is phenomenal. You cannot even believe the change it can bring to your corporation.
Can you bring some example whereby some organization adopted this model and what was the result? I mean,
so I work with a major oil and gas company in US, and I was the lean sensei and culture sensei, and I did a lot of training for them, and they trained right from the executive level to the new people just coming in fresh. I would have like 30 people in my class, which would be from all different levels. And I did this over several years, and they were expecting a 10:1 payback. So if they invest $1, they were expecting $10 back. Okay. Within 3 years, they started seeing that they are getting $20 back for the dollar. So 20-1 return is a very, very powerful return. Okay.
Sure.
Things they were doing, which were taking them 5 weeks to do, they were able to do that in less than a week. Okay. That is the change.
Yeah.
So the results were phenomenal.
Good. Mr. Yusuf Bukhari, he's asking about, could you please explain more about your iCulture game tool and how I can get it?
So basically right now it's not available. I have to be there to actually play that with you. So what I do is take a group of your executives. I bring this. So this is actually a game. I have designed each and every piece of it. And I've actually used 3D printing to create this game myself. Okay. So I bring all these pieces to you, and we as a team, okay, it is like a board game. So you have cards, you have, step-by-step process of how you visualize your culture, and you will build a structure which will be, this is what your current culture is. And it will be obvious. Your culture is not good. It will be all like a broken down building. Okay. Yeah. And then we discuss as a team of how to look at that, how to create a brand new culture for yourself. So we can customize the culture. Okay. And I've even created a IoT, Industry of Things model, where you can display that model on electronically on your dashboard. So you can say, this is my current state, this is my future, and step by step, how I'm going to get there.
So it is like a simulation, right?
It's a simulation, yes. But simulation as well as real life, where it is actually focused on your culture, not just any other example. It is simulation of your culture.
Good. During your presentation, Dr. Adil, you've talked about the manager and the leader, and you usually read in a lot of books what is the difference between them. But I want you please just to highlight the difference in terms of excellence. What is the difference between manager and leader in terms of excellence culture?
So a manager can also be a leader. Okay, they can be a leader, but manager is more focused on getting the results within the current team level. Their focus is on the process. Their focus is on getting the results. Versus the leader's role is really about the people. Okay, their job is, yes, I want to get the results, but I am not going to push the people. I am going to pull the people towards excellence. So they become a role model. They show what can be achieved at the highest level, and the people will just follow them. Okay, so to inspire a people is the role of a leader. That means the leader has to really be not only showing the way, but also the key thing is they truly want to. So Sensei leader, the difference between a general leader and a Sensei leader is that the Sensei leader wants that person to be at their level or above. So it is okay if they overshadow this leader. They can become much better than them because they may have a skill set which this leader doesn't have. So they are truly invested in growing the people, the human capital. That is what a Sensei leader does.
Good. So you've talked about you yourself supervise transforming some managers to a leader.
Yes.
To leaders. Yeah. Can you just give us the recipe? I mean, just a little.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question. Basically, what I do is I have 13 weeks of class, which I do. Every week, we go through each pillar, okay? So first week is introduction, then we go through the pillar, and they do a complete assessment from a individual perspective. And if this is a corporate level, then we also do a team assessment.
Yeah.
And based on that, I can show them which areas they want to improve. So they select which areas they want to improve, and they will pick that. And they can see within a couple of weeks, they will actually start implementing some of the things we talk about, and they will see a transformation in their own mindset, okay? So when I teach this, I have had people come back to me and said, I had a complete breakthrough. You can go to my LinkedIn profile, and you can see some of the comments from my students. They have written that I had a 400% improvement in over what I thought I could do, okay? It's just making them focus on the right things and taking it slow, step by step. Slowly, they are truly transforming their mindset. So what I do is part of my expertise is also neuroscience. I understand how the brain works. So the way the brain works is it is not a solid connection in your brain, okay? Slowly and steadily, there are chemicals which are coming in your neurons. And when that connections are made, it's like a dirt road. The first time you hear something, it's like a dirt road. Second time you hear something, it becomes solidified. And finally, when you become engaged with that and you truly are doing this on a regular basis, it becomes a superhighway. So then you don't even have to think. That becomes your habit. So changing it, and that becomes your mindset. So I show you step by step how to transform into a mindset.
So how long it takes, I mean, this process?
Again, if you are doing, I have even taken, like in 1 week, I've taken people through this process and then coach them in the future. Or I've done a 13-week class with them where I step by step, I take them, and each week I measure their progress. And at the end of that 13 weeks, it's a complete transformation.
Is there any prerequisite for this? I mean, the time.
Zero prerequisite. Prerequisite. You can be at any level. You can be at the shop floor level, and I can still transform.
Yeah, good. Dr. Adil, you've talked about 5 power. You called it 5 power. Yeah. And one of them was the visualization power. Can you just elaborate about what is the visualization power?
So basically, what happened was I came across that. So throughout, I've ran many projects, as you read in my bio, I've run major acquisitions, complete transformation of organizations. What I found was I was never using a software to run these projects. Somehow or the other, I would simulate I would know the contingencies and where are the risks. I would automatically do that. So my corporation was working with Gallup, where they did the strength finder. And one of my top strengths I happened to know while the coaching person was telling me is a futuristic, means I tend to visualize the future much better than anyone else.
Yeah.
So that is how I came to know, oh, now I understand why I'm able to run these projects. So what I said is, I have 2 choices. I can just use it to be successful myself, or I can create a formula of how I can take other people through this process. That is why I got deep into neuroscience. I've tried to understand how the brain works, what are the tools available, and I have created a step-by-step process of how, because there are certain brain waves which are important. certain techniques which are important for you to understand how to use this power. But we all have that power. We all have that power. And all I'm doing is taking you step by step into transforming. So that is the key to this.
Yeah, good. Allow me just to remind my audience here about the way, because somebody asked about how to get the certificate of attendance today or tonight.
Yes.
So again, here is the account number, the bank account number, please. You just make the referral of 50 riyals and send it to the email mentioned info@sqc.arm.sa with reference of this lecture. And thank you very much for your usual support. Dr. Adil, is there anything you want just to add before we close?
No, I think, I am really excited. I think, to be honest, within the 5 years I've been working in Saudi Arabia, I have been seeing a huge transformation in people. Okay, I personally have seen that people are much more engaged. They're really wanting to know more, and they're wanting to kind of go to that next level. And if you consider me a partner in that journey, I would be very honored to be a part of that, to really take your 2030 plan, to be part of these plans at a government level, because I'm also training a lot of your government personnel, okay, to be to the executive, the creative leadership level. So if you guys are interested, connect with me on LinkedIn, contact me, and I will be very happy to work with you personally or to work with your corporation. And
Sure.
I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Dr. Adil. It's my pleasure having you here and accompany you tonight. And I'm very happy actually for the volume of valuable information you provided tonight.
Thank you.
Wish you the best. I want just to remind everybody here about our next event. We're going to have a workshop on the 27th of November about Shinku model, which is one of the models used for the, I guess, for something about the road mapping and future psychology. It's a cocktail of a lot of, angle of management. So try just to be with us in this event. You will find it very interesting because we're gonna invite Mrs. Nancy Naima, who is, I think, ASQ representative in the Middle East. Also, please refer to our website with the detailed plan for this year. Dr. Adil, in behalf of my colleague in the Executive Committee of Saudi Quality Council, I'd like just to share with you here sort of a small gift for you, a small certificate. I wish it meets your acceptance, Doctor.
Thank you very much. My
and
pleasure.
And send it to you by email, inshallah.
Sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Nice meeting you. Thank you, everybody. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وكل أسبوع وطني وأنتم بخير إن شاء الله. ونراكم دائما على الخير والصحة والعافية والمحبة والجودة والتميز. دمتم طيبين. مع السلامة. في أمان الله.